This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bornini, and here are your headlines. The Ukrainians launched successful counter-offensive in the east. Monkeypox is a global issue, and UNICEF voices concerns over malnutrition within the kingdom. But first, more from our main story. The Ukrainian war has moved into a decisive phase since the Russians have captured Mariupol, as those troops have now moved east. But there is no change. What we are seeing is continued stalemate as the Ukrainian superior artillery deals heavy casualties to the invaders. Russian forces have been exacting a heavy toll on Ukrainian villages. This is fired to Kursk in the Donbass region, where a music school funded by the United Nations and the Japanese government now lays in ruins. And the rocket strikes continue. As to why the Russians hit the Palace of Culture in Moskva seems wholly unnecessary, but a targeted and deliberate strike it almost certainly was. The force of the blast completely annihilated the building that has absolutely no military purpose. But the Ukrainians fight back, as yet more artillery is on its way from America. These are the M777 howitzers. These are the beasts of the battlefield. They can fire shells over 30 kilometers at a rate of 5 per minute. They far outreach the Russians' artillery of the D-30s or the S-19s. They have a maximum range of 20 kilometers. And this is crucial, as what this means is the Ukrainians can shell the Russians, but if the Russians want to shell them back, they have to move closer. And tactically, that's very important. And what you see now is yet another Russian ammunition dump destroyed by the 45th Artillery. That extra range that's given to them by such weapons as the 777's howitzers is of a huge advantage. You can reach behind those front lines and destroy at will. And the importance of this cannot be underestimated, as we saw at the Battle of Kiev. The Russians' ability at logistics is quite simply terrible, with huge queues of trucks stretching back for many kilometers. And if you can reach out behind the enemy lines and destroy such things as ammunition depots, you are strangling the front line. You are literally starving the soldiers of the ability to fight. But it is also the shoulder-launched rockets that have been taking a heavy toll this week. Here near Luhansk, a Russian soldier enters his truck. It is the last thing he will ever do. Looking from the screen of one of these weapon systems, we can now see how very impersonal war has become. The strikes are so common that in this last video, we will listen to the audio and hear that the soldiers do not even rejoice anymore.
Лівіше, лівіше. Оп. Красота.
It was just another target acquired, another vehicle destroyed, and it is pitiful that yet more young men die. In this brutal war that is fueled by a man in Moscow's distorted worldview and his need to ensure his political preservation. It is those things that fuel the flames that ravage this once peaceful nation. The Health Ministry and the World Health Organization has urged the public to be alert for the new disease, monkeypox. Already, several cases of this rare disease have been reported in Europe and North America. And to a world weary from the battle against COVID-19, this news is very unexpected and very unwelcome.
Monkeypox is a viral zoonosis, a virus transmitted to humans from animals, with symptoms very similar to those seen in smallpox patients. Although it is clinically less severe, the virus can cause flu-like symptoms and also triggers enlarged lymph nodes and distinctive fluid-filled lesions on the face, hands and feet. Monkeypox was found in the Congo Republic decades ago, and it is now being reported in countries in Europe. The World Health Organization's representative in Cambodia, Dr. Lee Alan, said that the situation is still evolving and that experts are closely monitoring the global situation. The WHO confirmed that there is no suspected or confirmed cases reported from Cambodia. Just like COVID-19, monkeypox is usually self-limiting, but may be severe in some individuals, such as children, pregnant women, and the elderly, who are all most at risk. You can catch monkeypox from an infected animal if you're bitten or you touch its blood, body fluids, spots, blisters, or scabs, but the main form of transmission are the coughs and the sneezes of people with the monkeypox rash. The world looks and waits to see as to how this latest assault by a deadly disease plays out.
A recent Asian Development Bank report has noted that Cambodia faces worsening skill gaps as the lessons taught at schools and training institutions do not appear to be adequately linked to industry needs. The report warned that youth unemployment rates across Southeast Asia could double, adding another 4 million unemployed onto the market.
It is a worrying trend as Cambodia and other Southeast Asian countries still experience significant mismatches between skills generated by the education system and those demanded by the market, an ADB report has said. The mismatch between jobs and skills has resulted in an increase in unemployment among college-educated individuals. The skill gap has widened due to COVID-19, which has significantly accelerated the use of the internet, but many have little or no computer-based education. The ability to be conversant with IT skills, tools, and to be able to analyze digital information are increasingly a basic requirement across many job sectors, and Cambodia, as well as other countries in the region, are falling behind. The World Bank with ADB are to collect data on how educational institutions are training students, and it is this data that can be used to develop improved educational policies. If Cambodia does not pick up the speed of its adoption of computer literacy beyond the use of Facebook and WhatsApp, they are on a course to get left behind, as emerging markets are IT driven, and without those basic skills, big companies vital to the country's investment may well look elsewhere.
The numbers are almost unbelievable. Each day, 25,000 people, including 10,000 children, die from hunger and hunger-related causes. Some 854 million people worldwide are estimated to be undernourished, and high food prices may drive another 100 million into poverty and hunger. And UNICEF are concerned about Cambodia's undernourished.
UNICEF has warned that Cambodia is not prepared financially to deal with acute malnutrition, a serious threat to millions of children in developing countries, and with Cambodia's expanding population, food supplies are becoming a concern. In recent years, Cambodia has made notable progress in improving childhood nutrition. However, available data indicates an increase in malnutrition from 8% in 2005 to 9.6% in 2014. In 2020, due to COVID-19 pandemic, UNICEF found that Cambodia was facing a high rate of malnutrition among children due to the economic impact. In its latest report, UNICEF claims that the funds set aside by the government to fight malnutrition are far from sufficient. The cost is estimated at $25 million to cover the needs for responding to a food crisis over the next 3 years. But UNICEF said in a statement, 69%, about $17 million, of the funds needed have yet to be secured. The situation is one for serious concern, with global food prices rising due to global shocks such as war in Europe and a slowing economy.
A farmer in Prieurvahir was killed by an anti-tank mine this week. The victim was just 29. He was working on his farm when the tractor hit the mine. He was killed instantly. The incident happens just as Cambodia is looking for additional funding to clear the entire country of all these harbingers of death.
The problem is vast. In the last 30 years, over 2,000 square kilometres of land has been cleared of landmines. Over 30 years, from 1992 to 2022, over 1 million anti-personnel mines, more than 26,000 anti-tank mines, and about 3 million other explosives have been found and destroyed. But still, almost 1 million people live and work today in areas contaminated by mines and explosives. The death of the farmer comes hot on the heels of the government's announcement that it needs a further $19 million to fund demining endeavours to meet the kingdom's ambition of being landmine free by 2025. The $19 million is needed to equip an additional 2,000 soldiers for the life-saving effort. Cambodia's Mine Action said, "Our plan is to mobilise these 2,000 deminers from 2023, and we need to mobilise the funds for the equipment and support needed in the field to undertake this crucial life-saving work. The 2025 deadline is attainable. Without enough funds, we cannot deploy our resources effectively, and this means that more people will lose their lives and more families will be devastated."
And now it's time to look at our sports news. This week, Manchester City made their last game of the season an absolute nail-biter, producing a simply stunning comeback to beat Aston Villa 3-2 and to win the English Premier League. Going into the game, they knew that a win on the final day of the season would guarantee them the title. The game was a stunner as they went down 2-0, but astonishingly, they scored 3 goals in 5 minutes in the second half. It was right at the end of the very final game of the season that they produced this blizzard of goals, scoring on the 76th, 78th, and then the 81st minute to seal the victory. Simply put, it does not get any more exciting than that in the world of football, and for them, it gave them the championship. Now let's have a quick look at the Premier League in England.
So here it is, our final visit to the Premier League tables for this season, and there they sit, Man City, top of the hill, and they won by a solitary point over Liverpool. And this is why the Premier League is the Premier League. It truly was a riveting end to the season. But what about our adopted team, Burnley? Well, let's glance at the bottom of the table and see if they managed to hold themselves up. And no, they didn't. Unfortunately, they're in the bottom 3, along with Watford and Norwich City. Those 3, well, they're out of the Premier League.
It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week.
The week ahead is following a very similar pattern. As we go into the weekend, we can anticipate yet further storms, and the rain will not let up. It's right across the board. And when we add this with soaring humidity, we can say it's certainly going to be uncomfortable.
This has been the Khmer Times News. You can contact myself at the studio by mailing us at ktnewsstudio@gmail.com. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next Saturday for your weekly roundup.